Hey lovelies, so I think we can all agree that these are strange times we are living in. And if you're anything like me, you are probably spending most, if not all, of your time at home and doing a lot more home cooking in the process. Now, if you're not spending most of your time at home, I imagine it's because you're one of the incredible frontline workers out there facing this crisis day after day after day. And if you are one of those amazing people, first of all, I want to thank you so much for your contribution. Everyone from doctors and nurses to grocery retailers, transport, sanitation workers, and of course our emergency services. We could not be more grateful for your contribution. So thank you for that. On that note, you may notice that today's video is a little different than usual, and that is because for the first time in Domestic Geek history, I am actually working without a videographer. You guys might not know this, but I have never shot a video myself, ever. And that's actually what we're going to be doing from now on. Obviously, we wanted to keep our videographer safe and sound at home. So I'm going to be shooting this footage with my amazing husband, Greg, who is currently behind the camera, and then sending it to him to edit. So that's gonna be our new system. It probably will not be as pretty as our videographer is able to make it look, but I hope you'll bear with us because I do have some great recipes I'm excited to share with you all. Now, another thing you may notice over the next few weeks is that you're probably not gonna see 3 delicious ways on the channel. You're probably going to see 1 recipe per video, and that's obviously because grocery store access is limited, and I really wanna use the things that I have on hand in the kitchen. And I'm sure that's how you guys are living as well. So for the time being, we are going to stick to a single recipe per video, but I promise you I'm going to have tons of great pantry ideas for you guys, tons of frozen food ideas for you guys. And of course, if there are any recipes that you'd like to see on the channel, or if there are ingredients that you have at home that you're not sure what to do with, please let me know in the comments. Now more than ever, I really would love to hear from you guys because I want to make sure the content we're creating here on the channel is stuff that you're going to find really useful in your day-to-day lives. Now that I've gotten all of that out, without further ado, let's get to some chicken pesto penne. This recipe is one of those amazing one-pot pasta recipes that comes together in an absolute flash. It uses great pantry staples like pasta and some store-bought pesto sauce. I always have a couple jars in my pantry. If you want to go ahead and make your own pesto sauce, you definitely can, but buying the jarred kind is very convenient, especially in a time like this. For my frozen veggies, I'm going to be using some peas. I've also got some fresh spinach and kale here, but you could always swap in some frozen if you want to. I've got a little onion, some garlic, and I'm going to be using some chicken here, but if you don't have chicken on hand, you can totally leave it out. The pasta is still delicious either way. I'm gonna get started by heating up a little bit of oil on my stove, and to that, I'm going to be adding some boneless, skinless chicken breasts that I've just cut into 1-inch cubes. Now, another thing that I love about a recipe like this is that even though this recipe makes 4 to 6 servings, I'm only going to be using 2 boneless, skinless chicken breasts. It really helps to keep things a little more affordable and sort of make your groceries go a little bit further. Now, once my chicken is in the pan, I'm going to season it up with some salt and some pepper, and then let it cook away until it gets nice and golden on all sides. This usually takes about 6 to 8 minutes or so. And as soon as that chicken is fully cooked, I'm just gonna go ahead and remove it from my skillet and place it into a clean bowl and set it aside while I get to work on the rest of my ingredients. I'll add just a little more oil to my pan, and to that I'm going to add some diced onion. I'll cook that onion for 2 or 3 minutes just until it's nice and soft, and then I'm going to go ahead and add a little garlic to this as well. You guys know how much I love garlic in the kitchen, and of course I'm going a little garlic crazy these days because it's not like I have any important meetings to attend. The more garlic, the better at this point. I'm gonna let my garlic cook up for another 30 seconds or so, and then I'm going to get my penne into the skillet as well as a whole heaping helping of chicken broth. Now, if you're not familiar with the concept of one-pot pasta, the idea here is that instead of cooking our pasta separately in boiling water, we're going to cook it in the very same skillet as our sauce and use chicken broth instead to add a ton of great flavor to it. Once you see the beautiful bubbles breaking the surface, you know it is time to turn your heat down to medium, and we're just going to let this cook away for between 12 and 14 minutes. That's usually how long it takes for your pasta to get nice and tender and to absorb all of that flavorful chicken broth. In the meantime, you want to keep a close eye on it and make sure you're stirring it every 2 to 3 minutes. Because your pasta is really starchy, it will want to stick to the bottom of your pan. And of course, that is not what we're going for. So at this point, guys, you can see that our pasta is nice and tender and most of that chicken broth has evaporated. And that means it is time to add the rest of our ingredients. This is only going to have to cook up for another few minutes and basically we're ready to serve. So of course, because this is pesto pasta, we are adding pesto sauce. Now I am using store-bought pesto sauce, the kind you find in the jar in your pasta aisle. You can also buy it in the deli section often if you can find it there, or you can go ahead and make your own. It's a really wonderful combination of great flavors like Parmesan, pine nuts, and tons of fresh basil, so there's lots to love. You just wanna stir your pesto sauce in and make sure everything gets nice and coated. Once you've got your pesto sauce on, you can also go ahead and get your chicken back into your pasta. So you want to add that chicken in, and as well as any juices that have accumulated in the bottom of that bowl, because there's tons of flavor there. For even more great green goodness in this recipe, I'm also going to be adding some fresh spinach. If you can't find fresh spinach, you can also do this with frozen spinach or kale. Really, any greens will do in this recipe. We're just gonna stir all of this in and give that spinach a couple minutes just to wilt down. It only takes a minute or two. I've given my spinach a quick chop. It helps it wilt down even more quickly. I'm also going to be adding some frozen peas to this dish because, to be honest, I always have frozen peas in my freezer. Now at this point, it's really just a matter of stirring this until that spinach has wilted and all of our ingredients have heated through. My final step is going to be adding just a squeeze of fresh lemon juice to this to brighten up all those flavors. And that's it, guys. What could be simpler? You've got a fresh, delicious dinner on the table in about 20 minutes or less using things you probably already have on hand. I really hope you guys will give this recipe a try, and if you do, be sure to tweet me, Instagram me, or Facebook me a photo, because now more than ever, I am really enjoying seeing your kitchen creations. The full recipe is linked in the description box below, so you can find it there. And finally, guys, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe, because there is lots more deliciousness where this came from.